What if I told you I could answer the most important question in the world? Why are you on this island? What are you? What do you want? Why are you doing this? We're so close. It would be such a shame.
The story centers on the aftermath of a commercial flight that catastrophically crashes on a remote tropical island, leaving a diverse group of survivors cut off from the outside world. What initially appears to be a simple struggle for food, shelter, and rescue gradually reveals itself to be something far more complex. The island is not merely an isolated location, but a living environment filled with secrets, strange phenomena, and a history that predates the survivors by centuries. From the earliest moments after the crash, tension is established between hope and fear, order and chaos, logic and belief, shaping the emotional core of the series. At its heart, the series explores survival not only in a physical sense, but also on a psychological and moral level. Each survivor arrives on the island carrying unresolved personal conflicts, regrets, and hidden truths. The crash becomes a brutal equalizer, stripping away social status and forcing cooperation among people who would never have crossed paths otherwise. Doctors, con artists, criminals, soldiers, parents, and loners are all pushed into the same harsh reality, where leadership must be earned rather than assumed, and trust is constantly tested. The narrative structure is built around the idea that the past never truly stays buried. As the survivors attempt to build a functioning community, their previous lives are gradually revealed through character-focused storytelling. These glimpses into their histories are not merely background details, but are essential to understanding their choices on the island. Guilt, trauma, addiction, faith, ambition, and love all resurface in unexpected ways, suggesting that the island has a unique ability to confront people with the parts of themselves they tried to escape. Very early on, it becomes clear that the survivors are not alone. Unexplained sounds echo through the jungle, and evidence of previous inhabitants challenges the assumption that rescue is the only mystery they need to solve. Strange symbols, abandoned structures, and advanced technology raise unsettling questions about who was on the island before and why. These discoveries slowly transform the group's goal from simple survival to understanding the nature of the place they are trapped in. One of the most compelling aspects of the series is how it balances science and faith. Some characters search for rational explanations, believing that every mystery has a logical cause, while others see the island as something spiritual or even divine. This philosophical conflict becomes a recurring theme, often embodied in intense personal rivalries and debates about destiny, free will, and purpose. The island itself seems to respond differently to each belief system, reinforcing the idea that perception shapes reality. As time passes, the survivors encounter organized groups already living on the island, revealing a long-standing conflict that predates the crash. These encounters introduce moral ambiguity, blurring the line between enemies and allies. Actions taken in the name of survival often come at a heavy cost, forcing characters to confront the consequences of violence, secrecy, and manipulation. Trust becomes fragile, and alliances shift as new information comes to light. The series is also deeply invested in the concept of leadership. Different characters rise and fall as leaders depending on circumstances, personal strengths, and the willingness of others to follow them. Leadership is portrayed not as a permanent role, but as a burden that demands sacrifice and accountability. Decisions made under pressure often haunt those who make them, reinforcing the idea that power on the island is temporary and unforgiving. Romantic relationships develop under extreme conditions, adding emotional depth and vulnerability to the story. Love becomes both a source of strength and a point of weakness, as attachments influence decisions that affect the entire group. Friendships are forged through shared hardship, while betrayals cut deeper because survival depends on unity. These relationships ground the supernatural elements of the story in very human emotions. As the mythology of the island expands, the narrative introduces concepts of time, memory, and identity in increasingly complex ways. The island does not obey the same rules as the outside world, and this distortion affects both events and people. Characters begin to question what is real, what is predetermined, and whether their choices truly matter. The story challenges traditional storytelling by suggesting that cause and effect are not always linear. The cast of characters is central to the series' impact, with each individual bringing a distinct perspective and emotional weight. Performances emphasize internal conflict as much as external danger, making even quiet moments feel significant. The ensemble nature of the show allows for constant shifts in focus, ensuring that no single character defines the story alone. Instead, the narrative emerges from the collective experiences of the group. The setting itself functions as a character. The island is beautiful yet hostile, offering moments of serenity alongside sudden violence. Its landscapes change from beaches to jungles to underground facilities, each location revealing a new layer of mystery. The environment reinforces the theme that paradise and danger can coexist, and that appearances are often deceptive. As the series progresses, questions raised in earlier episodes evolve into larger philosophical inquiries. What does it mean to be redeemed? Can people truly change, or are they bound by their past actions? Is suffering random, or does it serve a greater purpose? The island becomes a testing ground for these ideas, forcing characters to confront them through sacrifice, loss, and difficult choices. Information about the outside world slowly seeps into the story, reshaping the survivors' understanding of their situation. Rescue, once seen as the ultimate goal, becomes complicated by revelations about what awaits them beyond the island. Some characters begin to question whether leaving is truly the answer, while others become obsessed with escape at any cost. This tension drives many of the most dramatic conflicts in the series. The show also examines the impact of isolation on morality. Without traditional laws or institutions, the survivors must create their own rules and systems of justice. Punishment, forgiveness, and mercy are constantly debated, often in the aftermath of betrayal or violence. These moments highlight how fragile civilization can be when stripped of structure, and how easily fear can override compassion. Over time, the narrative shifts from simple mystery to an exploration of interconnected destinies. Characters discover that their lives were linked long before the crash, suggesting that coincidence may not be accidental. This revelation reframes earlier events, encouraging viewers to reconsider the significance of seemingly minor details. The idea that everyone is part of a larger design becomes a central theme, though its meaning remains open to interpretation. The emotional weight of the series is amplified by its willingness to embrace loss. Death is not treated lightly, and each loss leaves a lasting impact on the survivors. Grief shapes decisions and relationships, reinforcing the idea that survival often comes with irreversible consequences. These moments of tragedy ground the more abstract elements of the story in genuine human pain. As the end of the journey approaches, the focus turns toward resolution rather than explanation alone. The series emphasizes emotional closure over simple answers, prioritizing character arcs and personal growth. Some mysteries are clarified, while others are left intentionally ambiguous, reflecting the idea that not everything in life can be fully understood. The conclusion underscores themes of connection, forgiveness, and acceptance. The legacy of the series lies in its ambition and willingness to challenge conventional television storytelling. By blending character drama with mystery, science fiction, and philosophical inquiry, it created a narrative that encouraged discussion and interpretation. Its influence can be seen in later shows that prioritize long-form storytelling and complex mythologies. In reflecting on the overall journey, the series presents survival as more than endurance. It becomes a process of self-discovery, confrontation, and transformation. The island strips away illusions and forces people to face who they truly are, for better or worse. Through conflict, cooperation, and sacrifice, the survivors' experiences suggest that meaning is not found in answers alone, but in the relationships and choices made along the way. Ultimately, the story is about people brought together by tragedy and bound by shared experience. The crash may have destroyed their old lives, but it also gave them the opportunity to confront their pasts and redefine their futures. Whether viewed as a mystery, a character study, or a philosophical exploration, the series leaves a lasting impression by asking one fundamental question: when everything familiar is taken away, what truly defines who we are?